Also happening today, TV and film stars are walking off the set and onto the picket line.
This is the first full week of picketing for the union that represents 160,000 actors and performers. They, of course, join members of the Writers Guild who've been on strike for more than 2 months now.
Union members are picketing today in major production cities from Los Angeles to New York City. And we should note NBC Universal's parent company, Comcast, is part of the organization that represents the major entertainment studios. Our Lindsay Reiser is live in New York City for us. So, Lindsay, I know you've been talking to the actors all day who are actually on the picket line. What are they telling you about their decision to strike right now?
They were picketing from 9 to 1 Eastern. They'll be back at it again tomorrow. And they told me what the sticking points are. 1, they want a livable wage. 2, they're worried about residuals. They've really dwindled, they say, because of streaming. And 3, they want the whole concern around AI to be addressed. They're worried that their likeness would be used forever without their permission and without compensation. So these are the sticking points here. I talked to Linda Powell. She's a Broadway star. She actually told me 6 months ago she lost her health insurance because she wasn't making enough. This is what else she told me.
The money that's concentrated at the top isn't not just trickling down to the bottom, it's not trickling down to the middle anymore, and it's become unsustainable for us. This is not just an actress problem, it's an American problem right now. You look at all the unions in the country that are fighting for outsized minimum increases. You look at the effect of the gig economy on all our workers in the United States. It's not a Hollywood problem, and Hollywood is not all stars either. There's a lot of working class people out there.
A little prologue to today's bonus episode. We here at Spro and Lee Take on the Academy love and appreciate our industry friend Emily, a hard-working member of showbiz, which can make her and our schedules incompatible. We tried our best to get her on our quickie episode this season, but it wasn't happening. Emily wrote us, asking why we had not been talking about the writers and actors strikes, and we said, if you want to come on and talk about it, be our guest. She said yes. We said pick a date. She said Wednesday night, November 8th, 8 p.m. At the time, this date was 2 weeks away, and we said, all right, come on and educate our audience, and Lee, about the current strike. On November 8th, at 7:55 p.m., 5 minutes before we were scheduled to start recording, Emily texted us to say that the studios had announced a deal was made. Lee asked, what now? And we said, well, let's just jump on and chat. We are honored to have spent the next hour talking to our friend Emily until the news was made official and the 118-day actor strike was over. And we know, without a doubt, that she is currently kicking ass on set. Enjoy this bonus episode of 3 friends hanging out the night the strike was over.
And, I'm lucky. I've still been getting paid. But, people have been fucking destitute these last, 6 months. So it's fucking crazy.
If you're just now joining us, Emily is a little emotional right now. Emily, you want to tell us why?
Oh, are we just on? We're just on? We're just going to do this?
Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the strike just ended. Allegedly.
Oh, what does that mean?
Well, it means that these are all from the trades. This is all Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. And there are, leaks and people that are breaking the story, but it hasn't been officially stated from the union yet. But I've also got a couple of friends who are on the corporate level with Paramount who have already gotten emails from their company being like, it's over. As my friend said, the email says, congratulations, labor relation team. And it's like, yeah, solid work, guys. It only took you 118 days.
And I was seeing reports earlier this week because SNL was starting to book guests again. And everyone was like, oh, shit, that means the strike's coming to an end.
They were booking guests, but they weren't allowed to book anyone who was going to promote one of their movies.
Oh, okay.
So during the strike, no SAG-AFTRA member was able to promote a project that was run by an AMPTP company.
Wasn't Momoa going on SNL to talk about starring in Aquaman 2?
I mean, he wouldn't have been. That would have been scabbing.
That's why they're saying, everybody's, promotions have been null and void. Daisy Ridley was just in a movie that nobody's heard about because they're not going on in anything and talking about it.
Yeah, that's exactly
also,
right.
Who gives a shit about Daisy Ridley?
Why? Why?
Oh, just because.
Why?
Why? You say why. I say why not?
That's fine. That's fine.
So we were supposed to be coming on to talk about the strike and get some information about it and everything like that. But, yeah.
I mean, I can still give you information about...
Well, it's a huge... So this is actually... It's a good thing. I'm re-listening to all of our episodes. And at the end of season 3, when we did the Kevin Spacey episode, Lee had you promise to come on season 4 for 1 or 2 episodes. And this is actually going to be the bookend of season 4, interviewing Emily about the strikes and whatnot, which hopefully are over.
Yeah.
But the last time our audience heard from you, you were preggo with baby number 2 that you were thinking was going to be your baby Chaos. And did that come true as you planned it out?
Here's the interesting thing. I don't think she's Chaos. I think she's a Scorpio, but I don't think she's Chaos.
What's Scorpio mean?
I know, don't say that.
Come on. You are all on some form of social media at this point in our age. You should have some idea, some working knowledge of the zodiac. There you go. Yeah. But she's honestly, I don't know what devil we made a deal with, but we have 2 pretty chill kids. She was not chill during the pregnancy. That was a fucking nightmare. But my kids are pretty chill. They're both asleep right now, and I'm so glad that my baby creating time is gone. That's never... I mean, the sex part will still happen, but I mean, any sort of, like, child growing inside of me, I'm happy for that to be over.
Done.
Did you hear that abortion's cool in Ohio again?
I did, and I am thrilled. It's a big day.
And weed.
And weed. And affordable education. Look at that. Look at Ohio showing up. They just needed you to show up. Oh, God, Jesus, fuck.
I didn't vote.
Tri-C was...
What do you mean affordable?
We extended Tri-C's life.
Why not?
You didn't vote?
I didn't vote. Proud non-voter.
He's one of the 45%.
You guys didn't need me. Went according to plan for you and not for others, so... And I stayed the fuck out of it.
What was the last film that knocked you on your ass?
I really wish Barbie had knocked me on my ass.
Same.
I really enjoyed it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it didn't... but it didn't knock me on my ass. No, I had a great time watching it. You did not enjoy...
I went late, I will say that, and then I just like scrutinized the whole thing. I was like, if it was anybody else, if it wasn't Greta Gerwig, if it wasn't Ryan Gosling, if it wasn't Margot Robbie, if it was Amy Schumer as Barbie, this movie would be a fucking joke. And like, just I can't get into the campiness.
Oh, see, I love that they leaned into the camp.
Yeah, and that's not my thing. So like, and the lady that I went with like looked at me and she's like, I like it. Are you hating it? I was like, I can't do it. But I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
But I'm confused.
What?
The camp?
Yes. Define a part from the film that was campy.
Every musical number.
Everything with the car and like it like falling off the road.
Okay.
The whole movie was camp.
I guess the musical numbers were just...
Yeah.
Is silly the same thing as camp then? Because it was silly to me.
It's not... I'm sure there are other people that have defined camp better than I could, but...
Yeah, you guys don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. What is camp?
Barbie.
No, we know what we're talking about. We just can't...
It's like defining the word with the word.
It's a style.
Right on. So you couldn't get into the... I'm just going to call it silliness, bro?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy when they were like storming the beach and the arrows were on the strings? It was slow motion, but not.
I don't think so. The only part that like really busted me out laughing was when Ryan Gosling went in for a kiss and she said no, and so he slapped himself across the face. Like, that tickled the crap out of me.
You gotta admit, Ryan Gosling was a joy.
He's always a joy.
I think everybody in that movie was a joy, except Will Ferrell, totally unneeded in that movie. And, I'm sure Emily's going to wig out when I say this. Not into America Ferrera. She is mid as fuck. Mid AF. No cap.
Mid.
Capless. Yeah, she's replaceable. How's that?
I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame you feel that way.
I thought you were agreeing with me.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I thoroughly enjoy America
So
Ferrera.
what could you get into, Barbie?
Me?
No, because I know you loved it. You loved it from
I enjoyed it.
Are you being sarcastic, or did you actually enjoy it?
No, I went to see my beloved Indiana Jones, who is, if I can borrow from another podcast, there are just certain things that go extinct, and there is no audience left for Indiana Jones, except for people my age. My brother said something to the effect on the podcast when we talked about Indiana Jones. He was like, I hope it doesn't make any money, because all the movies I like that are good make no money. So if it makes a bunch of money, it means that a bunch of mouth-breathing American idiots went to see it, and it sucks. Well, it sucks, and nobody went to go see it. I saw that, and it broke my heart in half.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, there are greater tragedies in the world. But Barbie kind of lifted my spirits. I had a lot of fun watching that one.
I had a great time. It just didn't knock me on my ass. That's all.
It didn't. No, you're right. But there's so many good things in there. I think Ms. Gerwig has a continued bright future. Not super thrilled about her hitching her wagon to Netflix and doing the Chronicle McDonald's of Narnia next. I'm not pleased, but who knows? Maybe it'll be fun.
But you like Little Women so much.
I do. I love Little Women. I think Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet should be in everything together.
I don't get Timothée Chalamet.
I like him in that.
I just don't get it. But I've never seen Call Me By Your Name.
He goes for it. I'm here to tell you.
Okay, now I know exactly what to expect.
Goes for it.
I think he's just like the new, like how Johnny Depp was for all the women back in like the 80s and 90s. This is the Timothée Chalamet era.
Oh my God, I can't believe the strike is over.
So what does it mean? What does that mean? What is tomorrow?
It means that okay, tomorrow is, I imagine that by tomorrow I will have emails from productions that were shut down during the strike saying we're starting up in 2 weeks or we're starting up in 3 weeks. And now we need to re-prep I was working on a series that we had 3 weeks left to shoot the rest of the season. We had been shooting for months, even through the writer's strike before SAG struck. And, when the writers were striking, but SAG hadn't struck yet, some productions could still keep going. We just didn't have writers on set. But if writers showed up to picket, then the Teamsters wouldn't cross the picket line and we couldn't shoot that day. So we had certain days where we would have a call time. They were sending out fake call sheets and trying to throw off any writers that would come in to picket, because there were certain crew members that would just be like, sorry, I don't cross picket lines. And that's it. So we wouldn't be able to shoot that day. We had one day where we were shooting on this bridge and out in the Hudson Valley, and there was, a river underneath the bridge, and we're shooting
that's the Hudson River.
I don't think it was, but we're shooting on this bridge. And we hear this bullhorn, and under the bridge, and of course we stopped shooting because they're like, cut, what is that? Where's the sound coming from? And we look down, and there is a woman on a canoe going down the river holding out a bullhorn and just holds up a WGA on strike sign. That was how serious it was of people trying to shut down production.
There are some things that when they are explained to me, I think I'm a troglodyte.
What is a troglodyte?
Well, it's standing in for a word that I want to say that Spro says I'm not allowed to say anymore. It's a dumbass. How about that? Let's go with dumbass.
You can say dumbass.
I know.
Troglodyte is one of those beetle things. I don't know what word you can't say.
Yeah, I just I don't understand. Explain to me I'm a troglodyte. Explain to me I don't get Teamsters. I think I understand picket lines. They're not real. There's no fence. Yeah.
Okay, so...
And make it quick.
So when a company wants... So companies pay employees, and at some point, companies may end up trying to underpay, shockingly, their employees or not give them breaks or etc. The employees decide to unionize. They want to create a collective that then will go to the table with their employer and create a contract and say, we want to collectively bargain. This whole group of us want to come together and collectively bargain with you, the employer. And that's union. That's
Norma
a union.
Ray. The Sally Field movie that you've seen.
Right. So in the entertainment industry, there is the main group of employers is the AMPTP, the American, what is it stand
Alliance
for?
of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
Yes. even though they're not producers, they're the studios, but whatever. So the AMPTP is the main group of bosses of employers. And there are multiple trades unions that have been created over the years that collectively bargain with the AMPTP. The Writers Guild is one of them. The Directors Guild is one of them. SAG-AFTRA is one of them. The Teamsters is one of them. And Teamsters are like drivers, carpenters, etc. I'm just telling you who they are.
They're not mobsters?
No, there's it's got a crazy history like the Teamsters.
And unions in general have a sordid history with the mafia. It's
Yes.
Jimmy Hoffa and the fisherman docks and everything like that. So, Teamsters is part of it.
Yes. So when the employer, like when they go to bargain,
Do you have
and
some salt shakers or something? I'm thinking of that scene from Blindside where the kid's like, "This is how to play football." And the garlic powder is the quarterback. And
I mean, this is literally what I did with a group of people where I was like, okay, so picture this. Here's the AMPTP, and then here are all of the unions that are underneath.
Okay.
That every few years, everyone's contract expires because each time they do the contract, it's got a few years on it. So the WGA the DGA's expired. They made a deal, which I won't get into that. But the WGA's was set to expire. They go back to the table to negotiate. And for any union, if they go back to the table to negotiate, and there are negotiating committees that are like brought up that do the negotiating with the AMPTP, if they can't come up with a contract, then they might say, we're striking. We're going on strike because you're not giving us, you're not meeting us.
Contract that they like.
Yes.
And the silly thing that happened this time around, like the Writers Guild is small. It's like 11,500 writers. Like when we said like we're going to go on strike, people were like, okay, good luck, type of thing. And then when the actors went on strike, which is about 250,000, I think, is 250,000 about in SAG-AFTRA.
It's a huge amount. Yeah.
When they joined, it was like a shot of steroids,
Yeah, the joke like that was going on Twitter was the on your left moment because all the writers had already been on strike for like 40 or 50 days. They were really, they were starting to get tired just being on the picket line and not getting any compensation, etc. And then it was like SAG showed up and it was like, boom, this huge amount of people just like flooded the picket lines.
And that's because generally speaking, nobody gives a fuck about writers.
Untrue. The whole thing is that the shows that were already in production were still able to go on. Some of them were. Like one of the shows I was in stopped. Like they were like, we can't have our writers on set. We're not continuing forward. And I got to tell you, being on set without a writer for a series sucks because, we would be... It does. Because, we'd be in the room rehearsing a scene and one of the actors would be like, and literally there's like the director, 2 actors and myself that are all like working on the scene. And one of the actors like, I know I can't comment on this because we don't have a writer in, but like this line is not working for me. And it's like, she looked at the director and the director looked at me and I looked back at the other actor and the other actor looks at the director and the director's like, just do your best. Like, you can't change, we can't do anything about it. Whereas any other time we'd be like, hey, writer on set, and they'd run in and be like, hey, okay, so this, and they would have a conversation about it and be able to make changes on the fly.
I appreciate that explanation, but when I said that nobody gives a fuck about writers, I was just kind of trying to twist the knife into Spro a little bit.
It was... The thing is, so I don't know, like, like, Emily is super happy. I'm still... kind of catastrophizing everything that comes with AI because as soon as like the strikes happened, like every producer that I talked to was just experimenting with AI. Like this one guy was like, who has bought my stuff. He was like, give me 3 words. And I was like, camera.
No.
I was like, camera, woman, alley. And he like put it in his little computer thing and then showed me 2 things that looked like photographs of a woman standing in an alleyway with a camera. And he's like, I could create this. He's like, in 6 months, I could probably say like, have you say like, ooh, I want to watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hunting Jack the Ripper. And I could create a movie like that. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's my job, bro. Like, if you want that, let me know. I'll write that for you.
And it's not just your job, it's everyone's job, because expanding it from the AI that can create, a script, now this is part of the reason why talks were stalled, is they're like, we're trying to put guardrails on technology that doesn't even exist yet, but will so soon. Like, we are so close to technology being like, coming home and saying, hey Siri, I would like a movie with Goldie Hawn and Hugh Jackman, a rom-com with them living in
young Goldie Hawn.
Right.
Like pixie cut.
Calm down. But saying like, I want these two actors in a rom-com and in this setting go, and it to be created and you to be able to watch it that night. And of course the answer back to that is, okay, how is Goldie Hawn being compensated for her likeness? And when she passes, how is her estate being compensated for her likeness? And also, was her consent given to tell any of these stories, to be a part of any of this? And obviously the answer is you can't. And that's the whole deal, is that, outside of the union guardrails and the AMPTP guardrails, Congress needs to enact guardrails. Like, there needs to be copyright guardrails.
I was just going to say, why can't there be copyrights like on books?
Well, the problem is like also the education factor. Like, we all get it. Like, this is all scary, terrifying to us. Influencers nowadays, like,
don't speak to me.
No, but I'm saying like, I don't think you want your likeness out there fucking a billy goat or something, but like,
yeah,
shrug.
It's
but
whatever.
I mean, like, the influencers nowadays, people that are trying to get their like 15 seconds of fame on TikTok, are currently selling their likenesses to these AIs to be used forever, to live forever in all their glory. So all of us old timers at 40 years of age, that is like, no, lock this shit down. We're also trying to plug the dam of all these young people doing exactly what the producers and everybody that just want to get paid buku bucks for it.
And it's something that came up. It's something that came up in all of the talks with AI that caused, like, one of the first parts of the strike was that the original contract that the studios had offered, the chief negotiator said, so by what you're offering, you're saying that a background performer could get paid $100 for the day to get scanned and have their likeness in perpetuity just given to be recreated over and over and over again by CGI and AI. And they were like, yeah. They're like, we're striking. No. And the thing is, like, they were like, well, if someone consents to that. And it's like, no, you don't understand. That's going to negate an entire union, because background performers are like 2/3 of SAG-AFTRA. Like, there's a huge amount of background performers, and that's going to take away over half the union. And also, so, you offer this to someone who is just coming in and just want to get a job,
Desperate.
any job, and they might agree to that. And then that's taking away all of the other background performer jobs that now their likeness is going to be used over and over and over again for. There's this fantastic podcast called Strike Talk that Billy Ray has been running throughout the writer's strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike. And he kept going back to, is like, this is an existential issue. This is what can end our industry, or there are no longer going to be professionals that are professional writers that make a living off of writing, or professional actors that make a living off of acting. It's just going to be hobbyists. And it's absolutely true. And I just fucking hope that the deal that SAG-AFTRA got and the guardrails that the WGA got put in their deal is enough to save it.
And I think, like you said, like, we need Congress to act, but Congress loves the bottom line as well, and like loves to penny pinch and everything like that. It's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, whatever that fucking saying is. But like, I read somewhere that by 2025, 85 million jobs will be lost to AI. And it just seems like we are on the cliff about to just shove ourselves off. And people are like, well, Skynet and the Terminator and like machines are going to kill us. And it's like, no, machines are just going to take all of our jobs. And we're just going to be...
No, it's so much It's so much lamer than that.
It's like Phantom Menace. It's just politics, man.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah, it sucks.
I want to play devil's advocate.
Shocking.
Well, I can't bring anything else to this discussion. What if what you say comes to pass? about the AI, and that there are no guardrails put up, and that Hollywood ends up being able to own these likenesses, and it gets into all these tiny little court battles. Goldie Hawn's estate, Hugh Jackman's estate.
The court battles would set a precedent.
Right. But maybe there is no precedent. Maybe it's just like, okay.
They're just like, no, that's fine.
Yeah, well, they just give them a cut of the money and then go, okay, fuck off. You're saying that Hollywood could just start making movies without anybody except a computer?
Yeah.
And do you think...
And really not just Hollywood, just like some random-ass dude.
Which is hundreds of thousands of jobs. I mean, it's the IATSE makeup artists, and it's everyone.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the art, though.
Which would be like...
I don't want to talk about the job economy.
I mean, think about it like this.
These are craftspeople. These are artists.
Well, I guess my point is, wouldn't it fail? Wouldn't Hollywood eventually be like...
Up. We got to go back.
Finish.
We got to go back. All of those IATSE craftspeople, you're going to piss off so many people. All those people.
They don't listen to this fucking show.
They might. And they're fucking
it.
Artists.
And again, I said I was being devil's advocate. I'm not saying fuck these people, sorry. I hope. But I mean, if Hollywood's to be like, we don't need any of you motherfuckers, we're going to keep 100% of the profits for our damn selves. And they started just being like, a Goldie Hawn action movie in the style of Michael Bay with cinematography by fucking Roger Deakins and I don't know, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then no matter how many times they try, no matter how honed the AI gets, it just keeps coming out like dog shit. Don't you think people would stop going? Don't you think eventually Hollywood would be like, maybe we need some human beings in here? Or I guess the flip side of the coin is, what if nobody notices? My only contribution, I told you, my only contribution to this is being an asshole.
I think, well, as long as you're aware. I think that, and I don't know what this would look like. I have ideas, and I guess one idea would be that it would come out and at least the first few iterations of it would suck, and maybe a couple of them would be really good, and people would be, see, look. But the studios would be saving so much money doing it that they would just continue to churn it out. And I think there is a world, and there is a certain amount of America and the world that would watch crap TV. Do watch crap TV. It's just some of it's made by humans.
Has a computer ever made anything really good? Has a computer ever come up with a thought that was really good? That wasn't, pillaged from...
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that all of this is just pillaged. All the AI comes from source material. It's just not credited. And I mean, every word, every phrase, every idea is taken from another idea that's just not credited. It's completely unethical.
And it's going to be that weird thing of because history repeats itself. This is oil painting versus photography. It's high art versus computerized.
I'm thinking of the movie Quiz Show when they were like, yeah, we gave him the answers. It's just television. It's just entertainment.
Well, and that's where, I think my biggest is the audience is going to get dumber because there's going to be no...
How could they?
He's just playing devil's advocate, my friends. He's just playing devil's advocate. But, they're going to go, oh my gosh, this was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you're like, no, that's overproduced garbage. It's kind of like when Beck won over Beyonce and people were like, who the fuck is Beck? Beck, it was like, it's a guy that played every single instrument on his album. It's true craftsmanship versus Queen Bey, who's overproduced and well publicized. If AI is creating all of our entertainment, there's no hands-on craft anymore. There's no actual thought behind it.
If people want to be able to create AI art, they should be able to. Isn't that funny too that I said if people want to create AI art? This is too philosophical.
But I mean that is what it is. There's got to be someone who's controlling the AI. That's the whole thing.
It shouldn't be a secret that it was AI. Just kind of like in the same way when reality television, I mean, the very genre, calling it reality television is a misnomer. So if you were going to call a film, or a television show, or a script, I feel like you can't put some fucking dummy moniker on it. You have to be like, this was written by ChatGPT. I don't know.
Well, it's going to be more so, it's going to be human made, because we put organic on anything that's not chemically produced because the chemically produced is what's more widely available. Will be the organic movie.
Also, that is something that they specified in the WGA contract, was that it had to be disclosed if any of the material was AI or was from AI.
I would want to know that. And I would be curious. And I would want to watch it and think about it, but I feel like it wouldn't touch my soul. And if it did touch my soul, I'd be like, there's something wrong with me.
Okay, a friend of mine that was on the negotiating committee just posted that they have a tentative deal.
Oh, I thought you put your arms up in the air because you were liking what I was saying.
Touchdown?
No, I'm hurt. All right, so it is official.
I mean, it's not official, but that is... I now believe it.
Did the room have a big boardroom table that was shiny mahogany? That's all I want to know.
I mean, it was mostly over Zoom.
Less sexy.
But there were many tables.
With Lin-Manuel singing Room Where It Happens, just in the background. Guys, we're in the room where it happens. The room where it happens. Now we're going to get sued by Russia again.
Did you get sued by Russia?
We didn't get sued.
We got 8 letters, though.
Spro has a tendency to... Spro ignores fair use. Blatantly.
Hold your nose and close your eyes.
You know, it doesn't.
Russia doesn't own that stuff. I just like to
nobody
poke the
listens
bear
to us either. So
if you get it, poke the bear.
Right. Yeah. Until we get our first cease and desist.
I just want to see if it's Russia or California.
So I guess while this is still tentative, and this episode won't come out for a little bit, but it'll be pretty soon, and people will be talking about it. So what kind of legacy do you hope this strike has? And be brief. In fact, skip to the end.
It's only 3 years.
And who knows, where technology is going to be in 3 years, and we could be right back here in 3 years. This is the legacy that I hope this strike has. I hope that people understand that anytime the CEOs were pushing back and saying everyone's asking for too much, that it is absolutely a failure of corporate greed and capitalism. The amount of money that CEOs make is absolutely shitballs insane. And they could have ended this strike before it began. And what did they do instead? They just ruined people's lives. Literally ruined people's lives. People died during this strike. People took their lives during this strike and because they lost everything. It was absolutely unnecessary, and they could have ended it before it began, but they were all just beholden to Wall Street and beholden to the fucking ridiculous amount of money that CEOs in the top % of the companies make.
So my biggest hateful thing against the country is unregulated capitalism or corporate socialism, whichever way we want to turn. But it seems like the people at the top are untouchable and get bailed out before they fail and everything like that. But you have to believe that there is power on the second level of Hollywood. So how is it that the studios and the streaming services seem to have everybody by the balls that they can't create their own thing to play within? Because I hear smaller studios like A24 were getting thumbs up from everybody in the industry being like, how can they do it right? And these bigger people just can't seem to figure it out. So it's why don't we just create a whole bunch of A24s and say nobody work with the top studios anymore?
Here's the fucking thing is that there are a bunch of already smaller studios like HBO, like all the Warners before they all became huge monopolies. And it's all because of mergers. Mergers just fucked the industry.
Yeah, I don't know why I learned about monopolies in school because I'm like, what the I feel like this is happening all over the place.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mergers screwed the industry, and now all these giant companies are beholden to Wall Street, and they don't care about the art. David Zaslav does not give a shit about the art,
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
David
He's the CEO of Time Warner.
Sounds like a troglodyte to me.
You said it, not me.
Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is weighing in on the state of the ongoing SAG-AFTRA negotiations. During the company's earnings call, Zaslav said that the studio's latest offer had, quote, met virtually all of the union's goals. We made a last and final offer, which met virtually all of the union's goals and includes the highest wage increases in 40 years, and believe it provides for a positive outcome for all involved. We recognize that we need our creative partners to feel valued and rewarded and look forward to both sides getting back to the business of telling great stories. Zaslav has been one of the 4 main studio heads at the negotiating table with the union, alongside Disney's Bob Iger, NBC Universal's Donna Langley, and Netflix's Ted Sarandos. On Monday night, the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers made an offer which it called its last, best, and final, and SAG-AFTRA continued to deliberate on the proposal into Wednesday.
Is he the one that was like, hey, if people got to lose their homes, people got to lose their homes?
He probably was. It was an unnamed.
Was Bob Iger.
They actually didn't say who it was that said it. It's an unnamed studio source.
Oh, I thought it was Disney.
No,
it was Bob Iger.
No, Bob Iger said a bunch of other stupid shit.
Well, I think it's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges that we're facing and the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. And they are adding to a set of challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
So they're not being realistic?
No, they're not.
Why not?
I can't answer that question. I respect their right and their desire to get as much as they possibly can in compensation for their people. I completely respect that. I've been around long enough to understand that dynamic and to appreciate it. But you also have to be realistic about the business environment and what this business can deliver. It is and has been a great business for all of these people, and it will continue to be, even through disruptive times. But, being realistic is imperative here.
What do you do in the interim, then? Does AI start to write a lot of scripts?
It will have a very, very damaging effect on the whole business, and unfortunately,
the strike will.
There's huge collateral damage in the industry to people who are, who are support services. I could go on and on. It will affect the economy of, different regions even because of just the sheer size of the business. It's a shame. It is really a shame.
That's the one when Hellboy was like, let me tell you something.
It's so good.
There's a lot of ways to get fucked.
Was it Ron Perlman? That moment was such just chef's kiss.
Dude, he's scary as fuck.
I hope.
Isn't he like 76 too, and he's still frightening?
Yes.
Living down there in Puerto Rico.
Yes, and that's half the Teamsters I know who would just be like, I don't cross picket lines, and be like, yep, I'm with you, okay?
One thing before I get off this. The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial. Some of it is karma. And some of it is just figuring out who the fuck said that. And we know who said that. And where he fucking lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 fucking million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out.
It's interesting. I think I would drown in that sea. My hat is always off to you, Emily, for working in that world. Not only because you worked your fucking ass off to get there, but because, man, the more you tell me about it, the more I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
I just got into a really crazy situation, and I've just been very fortunate, very lucky to be in this really ridiculous part that I've gotten to get some perspective on it from a few different angles. It's really wild. And to be honest, a lot of what I've learned has just been from Twitter. So much during this strike.
So you're like that tech guy that comes to fix your computer and just searches up on Google what to do?
No, more like just like spends the last 2 hours of his night just like learning about what to do. But to be fair, I was on screenwriter Twitter before the WGA strike. And that's how I feel like I got, it was like 2 years ago, just like getting to know some of the writers on set, that I got really into screenwriter Twitter. And I'm like, oh, I guess I know a few things about this now.
My world didn't slow down over here. Like, the producers that I was talking to were still putting together things because of the loopholes that SAG-AFTRA had. You know, everybody was getting these
the waivers.
Yeah. It helped out me. It helped out my world. But in the same instance, I was like, this doesn't feel right.
Well, it's okay because none of this was going to the AMPTP companies. These were all going to other companies, and they also aren't able to sell it to the AMPTP companies. So all of the ones that got their waivers were doing it because they weren't giving any money to the people that were holding out on contracts.
I just couldn't figure out whether or not the people that were getting the waivers were people that had clout, you know, like how is this selection committee? Because everybody that I know that got waivers had a lot of clout.
I mean, I also got contacted from some places that were like really small indie productions that were getting waivers.
Good to hear.
And that some friends of mine reached out and were like, I'm working on this waiver show. So yeah, but I mean, I will say...
That was my show.
Before it was... I promise it wasn't. But I will say, right before we shut down, like, you know, and again, we had 3 more weeks to film, and we really weren't sure if the SAG strike was actually going to happen. And I was there for a scene, and it was like every person, and I've been with this group for 2 seasons now, so like I know everyone, we're all buds. The script supervisor's like, so when are you here next? And I'm like, I'm here next week. And he was like, well, if I don't see you, and gives me a hug. I'm like, we don't know if it's going to actually strike. I don't know if it's going to actually happen. And then I'm checking in with the actors and everything before we're just about to finish up the scene. And they were like, hey, when are you here next? Oh, I'm here next week. They're like, okay. Well, if I don't see you, I'm like, come on, guys, there might not be a strike. We might be okay. And the next day, boom, everyone's gone.
Crazy, but maybe everybody comes back.
I expect to have an email tomorrow being like, this is when we're re-prepping and this is when we're going to start shooting again.
But it's the holidays.
Well, I hope...
Sheesh.
They're going to work through holidays.
You think?
I think so.
I feel like that's a bad contract then.
I mean, I think that the like usual 10-day or whatever it usually is that we have over Christmas, New Year's is gonna get shortened to whatever they can. And I think most crews and actors who have been out of work for 6 months are gonna be just fine with missing that so that they can give their families a Christmas.
And then pilot season.
I think January is gonna be fucking wild.
That's also the beginning of award season. So that's good news for Spro and I, because we can actually do an Oscar pre-show and post-show, because there'll actually be an Oscars. Small potatoes in comparison.
No, it's going to be so weird. It's going to be so wild.
Yeah, all right.
I'm just like imagining like... What?
Just got lost in thought there for a second.
It's going to be crazy.
Listen, I'm usually in bed by now.
Same, dude. Spro is like,
I really like to record on Wednesday nights as late as possible.
And I'll be getting up at 4 a.m. too. What are you, 40? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm over that.
Aren't we all, though?
6 hours a night is unhealthy, Mr. Spro.
No, and
It's also lucky.
I have babies that will be up at 5:30 a.m., although every now and again, it's like, you just like roll and wake up, and it's like 8 o'clock, and you're like, is everyone alive? Oh, God.
I do that to myself when I wake up. I'm like, pat myself. I'm like, okay.
Did I make it?
Thank you, Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, I hope to see you back here in Ohio. You and I can have breakfast, and Spro can sit it out. And,
I know. Why was I invited the last time?
Don't tell him.
No, let's do it. I'm back in the holidays, so I'm back in for Christmas.
Well, I will be in New York for New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. Are you going to Times Square?
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would do that.
It's life experience. You got to get out. You got to experience everything. Did you ever do it?
No.
Never?
No.
But it's right there.
I'm with that.
But it's because do you know how
batshit crazy it looks on TV?
And I bartended for years, like near Midtown, and that's enough. I'm good. Mad respect for doing it, but I'm
You're great.
Shut up.
What was the last movie that knocked you on your ass? That's right. You didn't answer the question.
You know what? I'm not watching enough movies because I can't think of the last one that knocked me on my ass. Although we did watch The Nightmare Before Christmas in IMAX over Halloween, and that was really lovely.
I've never seen it
30
before.
years old.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good.
Oh, yeah. My husband and I were going to go to, we're going to go on like this big date and go watch Pink at Madison Square Garden. And we ended up not going. And we're like, fuck it. Let's just go see The Nightmare Before Christmas. So that was our date night. That and P.F. Chang's. And you know what? Perfect. SAG-AFTRA just sent the email.
There it is.
We are thrilled and proud to tell you that your TV Theatrical Negotiating Committee voted unanimously to approve a tentative agreement with the AMPTP. As of 12:01 a.m. PT on November 9th, our strike is officially suspended and all picket locations are closed. Good shit, good shit. I'll never see my children again.
Emily, it was a pleasure to have you back and on such a momentous night.
Such a pleasure. I love you guys.
Congratulations.
Love you too, Emily.
Thanks. I'm like, on what? Thanks.
It's official. The actors' strike is over after 118 days. SAG-AFTRA has reached a tentative agreement on a new 3-year contract with the studios and streamers. SAG-AFTRA announced that the union's TV Theatrical Committee approved the agreement in a unanimous vote on Wednesday. The strike will end at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday. The development came not long before a deadline of 5 p.m. that the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers had set for the union to give their answer on whether they had a deal. For much more on this story and all the latest updates, go to thr.com. For the Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Tiffany Taylor.
All right, that was a good talk with Emily, and then we will see you all in 2 weeks for our final episode of the season when we go after Mr. Woody Allen,
the best original screenplay of 2012. See you then.
Ta-ta for now.